Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to today's Caffeine for the Soul. And if you listen to these podcasts with any regularity, you probably know I love a good analogy. And part of why I love metaphors and analogies is that they're fun. But part of it is that when you're talking about something as intangible as spirit, it's in some ways the only way that you can point to it without turning it into a thing, without turning it into something that seems solid and is going to behave like a solid object in a Newtonian universe. So this analogy came during a program. I run a program every year called the Advanced Course. And the Advanced Course is just an opportunity for anyone to look more deeply into the principles behind the inside-out understanding, whether they've been just stumbled across it or they've been studying it for 30 years. And someone asked a question on the Advanced Course about what she could do to stay more present to the deeper self in daily life. And I don't, generally speaking, know what I'm going to say before I say it. I have absolutely learned to just trust to this deeper mind, to this innate real-time responsive intelligence to take the lead. So what came out of my mouth that particular day was an analogy, and it's an analogy I liked enough that I want to share it with you now. So I'm sitting in a chair right now, and if I want to, I could put my attention on the chair and feel it supporting me. If I want to, I can put my attention on the feeling of my feet on the floor. I can put the attention on my attention on the feeling of tension in my neck. I can put my attention anywhere. But if I put it on the chair, I feel the smoothness of the arms. I feel the padding of the seat and the hard seat under the padding. I feel the support of the back. In the chair I'm in as I'm recording this, I can lean back into it. And if I wanted to, I could close my eyes and I could relax as deeply as I wanted to. But the beauty of the chair is I don't have to be paying attention to it to be supported by it. I don't have to even notice it's there for it to hold me up. It's got me at the perfect height to record this without any attention from me on it. So knowing that I'm being supported in this moment and at all times by the chair, whether I know it or not, whether I notice it or not, is incredibly comforting. Because I don't have to think about it in order for it to support me. I don't even have to know it's there. I'm already sitting in it. It's already holding me. It's got me. I don't have to get it. There's a beautiful quote that Carl Jung apparently had. I've heard it on his desk, I've heard on his office door, and I've heard on his tombstone. And the translation of it is, invoked or not invoked, God is present. Well, invoked or not invoked, noticed or not noticed, we're always being supported by this deeper intelligence, by this deeper mind. Whatever the nature of life is, we are already in it. It's already got us. And for at least as long as we're alive, we're always already supported by it. Now, what I've found is that taking the time to notice it can be reassuring and comforting. Obsessing and arguing about the details of it does nothing to improve the experience of resting in it. So we can debate what this intelligence is and where it comes from and what it means and does it want things for us and is it personal or is it impersonal and what should we call it and do we pray to it? And it, like any analogy, like any metaphor, you can stretch it too far and it stops being helpful. So if we were going to kind of keep the analogy with the chair supporting us, we might have thoughts like, well, what if my chair is broken? Or what happens if I stand up? Or, well, who is it that's sitting in my chair? But questions like that, to my mind, are more about the limitations of language and metaphor. They're not really anything to do with limitations in the universe. So if this has any resonance with you at all, stay with the feeling of it. What if you really knew that you are already being taken care of by life? What if you really didn't have to do anything in order to be supported? What if in any given moment you could become more aware of the deeper nature of life, enjoy its comfort and support, and you didn't have to give it a second's thought the rest of the time? Well, one of my favorite stories about the Scottish mystic Sid Banks came from one of his longtime students, and he shared that a group of them were hanging out in Sid's backyard debating the spiritual nature of life while Sid was quietly tending to the barbecue. And Sid was kind of listening in on all this, and after a time he just suddenly kind of spoke up and said, "For goodness sakes, stop talking about this all the time." And everyone was startled and surprised, and they said, "Sid, isn't this what we're meant to be talking about?" And he pointed to the fact that while seeing our deeper nature lets us relax into it more fully, talking about it all the time makes no sense. And within my analogy, talking about it all the time makes no more sense than spending your days discussing the nature of chairs instead of just sitting in them and doing whatever it is that you do while you're in them. Whatever is already is. You don't need to do anything for it to be so. The beauty of the nature of things, of the nature of the universe, of the nature of truth, is nothing that you think or say or do can make the truth any more true. But nothing you do, say, or think will make it any less true. So the gift, to me, in noticing and then coming to know the truth of who and what we are, of what supports us, is that the more we notice it, the more we see how miraculous that deeper nature really is, and the more we rest in that, the easier and more graceful life becomes. Have fun, learn heaps, happy exploring, and I'll talk with you soon.